warm welcome I received in Nepal is something I will never forget. We are living in difficult and tense times. I know that even though the conflict in the Middle East is thousands of miles away, it has hit very close to home for the people of Nepal. I extend my deepest condolences to the families of the 10 Nepalese students killed in the terror attacks by Hamas in Israel on 7 October. And my best wishes for the safe return of Mr. Bipin Joshi, who is missing. I have just arrived here from Qatar, and I will continue to insist on the immediate and unconditional release of all the hostages in Gaza. And I repeat my utter condemnation of the appalling attacks perpetrated by Hamas. There is no justification ever for the killing, injuring, and abduction of civilians. The situation in Gaza is growing more desperate by the hour. I regret that instead of a critically needed humanitarian pause supported by the international community, Israel has intensified its military operations. The number of civilians who have been killed and injured is totally unacceptable. All parties must respect their obligations under international humanitarian law. That law emerged from the tragedy and awful experiences of war. Nepal has a long and proud tradition of championing peace and multilateralism. And the United Nations is usually grateful to Nepal for your support for multilateral solutions, backed up by the enormous contribution you make to peacekeeping missions around the world. Nepal progress over the past 20 years has been astonishing. You have become a republic, established peace, and surround yourselves behind the Sustainable Development Goals and climate action. And there is more to come. The next few years will be decisive as Nepal prepares to graduate from least developed country status and as it embarks on the final stages of the peace process with transitional justice. Transitional justice must help to bring peace to victims, families, and communities. And the United Nations stands ready to support Nepal to develop a process that meets international standards, the Supreme Court's rulings, and the needs of victims, and to put it into practice. Nepal is also caught in a blizzard of global crises not of its making. The aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic, inflation caused by the international economic situation, and the enormous threat posed by climate chaos. Much more international action is needed. Developed countries must step up to support sustainable development and help developing economies, including Nepal, to tackle the climate crisis. On this trip, I will visit the Himalayas to see for myself the terrible impact of the climate crisis on the glaciers.